Buddy, we are doing 45, 60-ish minutes of live side split stretching. I'm going to do this every day to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community, and hopefully make a bunch of progress in our hip mobility and side splits. All right. Usually I talk really fast, try to stuff a whole bunch of information into your head as quickly as possible. Today I'm going to try and be a little bit more calm, a little bit more thoughtful maybe with my words and going for the really important stuff instead. So we'll see how that goes. Let me know, Che, since you're here and you've experienced every version of this show, how it's going. Okay, we are doing 3 warm-up exercises to get our heart rate up, to get our blood pumping, and then we're going to do 5 stretches. The first warm-up exercise is the hip car. Hip cars are all about moving your legs and your hip through their full range of motion. They look a little bit like this. We're bringing up the knee as high as possible up in front, and we're going to open up that hip as wide as we can directly to the side. Keep the knee high, and then from that position, we want to rotate that leg so that the ankle is as high as the knee, and then we want to go further. We want to bring the ankle high, way higher. And then once we've reached maximum, we can bring the leg down and back. Flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes while you pull the leg back. Feel the stretch here in the front of the hip. And that is 1 rep. We're going to do 10 of these on the left side and 10 of these on the right side. And that is the first half of our first exercise. Let's go. High knee, open, ankle up some more, leg down and back. High knee, open, ankle up, down and back. That's 2. High knee, open, ankle up, down and back. That's 3. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. 4, open, ankle, down and back. 5, open, ankle, down and back. 6, open, ankle, down and back. 7, open, ankle, down and back. 8, open, ankle, down and back. 9, open, ankle, down and back. 10. That is hip cars on one side. We have done 25% of our hip cars. Let's go turn it around. Let's get ready to do the other side. High knee, open, ankle up, down and back. 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 I forgot to count. I was mostly focused on the tension in my hips, but I think this should be 6. 7, 8, high knee, open, ankle up, down and back. 9, and 10. Those are hip cars going forward. Now we're going to do them going backwards. Basically the same movement, but we hit them a little bit differently. We start by bringing the leg back, then we lift to the side, and a little kick for funsies. From here, we're going to lift that ankle up. We're going to do the opposite. Bring the ankle all the way down, and then finish by bringing the knee forward. It's a lot of information. Don't worry. I shout out the names of everything anyway. Let's go. Back. Side. Ankle up. Ankle down. Knee. Back. Side. Ankle up. Ankle down. 2. Back. Side. Ankle up. Ankle down. 3. Back. Side. Ankle up. Ankle down. 4. Back. Side. Ankle up. Ankle down. 5. Back. Side. Ankle up. Ankle down. 6. Back. Side. Ankle up. Ankle down. 7. Remember, these are all about trying to get to your maximum range of motion using your own muscle power. So we're getting stronger and we're getting more mobile all at the same time. So this isn't about doing these as fast as possible. I know these are tiring. These are about getting that maximum range of motion. I think it's the last one. I might have miscounted, but this will be the last one on this side. There's 10. Whew. hip cars. Shake out that hip or massage it. Wiggle out those legs. If you're just joining in, we're doing 45-ish minutes, maybe 60-ish minutes of live side split stretching. We do this every single day to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community. I try to bring good vibes to the internet. I hope you bring good vibes into the chat. And hopefully the combination of good vibes, community, consistency helps us make a whole bunch of progress in our daily hip mobility and in our side splits. Cool? If that sounds cool, hit follow, hit subscribe, come back. We're here every day at 9 p.m. and on weekends, like what we're about to go into. I'm also here at 9 a.m. in the morning Eastern, and we do a 12-hour show thing. Cool? All right. We got one last set of hip cars. If you're just joining in, hip cars are all about moving your leg through the maximum range of your hip with strength and control in your muscles. And it looks like this: high knee, open, ankle up, down and back. We're doing 10 of these. High knee, open, ankle up, down and back. High knee, open up, ankle up, down and back. There's 3, 4, 5, 6. High knee, open up, ankle up, down and back. High knee, open up, ankle up, down and back. High knee, open up, ankle up, down and back. High knee, open up, ankle up, down and back. I have once again completely lost count of how many of these we've done, but I think it's fair to say that's about 10. Let's call it there. Whew, that is our first warm-up exercise, and it's pretty tiring, so we're going to take it chill with the second one. The second move that we're going to do is called the elephant walk, and this is the warm-up, so you don't have to jump into this. You don't have to be explosive. We're slowly warming up the muscles in our body. I want you to get into this L shape. If your hamstrings are tight and you can't get any further than this, that's okay, but I want you to try to bring your belly button down towards the ground. Your hamstrings should start tightening up. Maybe you're feeling a little pressure in that low back because your hamstrings are so tight. And I'm just going to chill here for a little bit. As we chill, as the hamstrings loosen up, we're going to enjoy the stretch just a little bit more. All right. Focus on bringing the belly button down towards the ground. And remember to breathe. Once you've hung out here for a little bit, you're ready for something more. We're going to bend one knee, and we're going to straighten the other leg. From here, we're going to keep on switching back and forth. One leg bent, one leg straight, one leg bent, one leg straight. And we're going to try and work on those hamstrings some more. You might feel a whole bunch of tension in your hamstrings. You might feel some tingliness where the hamstrings connect to the pelvis, which is going to be right underneath your butt. You might feel a little bit of tingliness in the calves, in the toes. That is often called nerve flossing. Those are all normal. We're going to keep going. We're going to do a couple more seconds. Keep on trying to bring the belly button down as you switch knees. Left and right and left and right and left and right and left and right. And once you've done that for a little bit, you feel like you've made some progress. You're feeling a little bit more flexible. Then we're ready to move on. Come on out of that stretch. Shake out the legs. Give them a light wiggle. Flop around. And once you've had a chance to relax your hips, to relax your legs, we're going to get right back into that same exact position we were just in, and we're going to do some thoracic rotation. Thoracic rotation is just fancy for we're going to rotate our backs. We're going to twist. We're going to bend one knee. Right now, my left knee is bent. I'm going to reach across to my right leg. I'm going to push against the right ankle to rotate my chest to the right. I'm going to extend the right arm, look at the right hand, and reach. One more on the other side. Right knee is bent, left leg is straight, right hand goes across the left side of the body. Push Chest rotates to the left. Left arm goes up and behind. And that is 1 rep. We're going to do a total of 5. Let's go. Open and rotate. When you get to the very deepest part, try to do an exhale. And you might find you can go just a little bit deeper when you're not holding that much pressure in your chest. I think that's 4. And last one. 5. Whew. Those are some thoracic rotations. Hopefully you loosened up your spine, worked on a little bit of twisting. Maybe your shoulder blades and your shoulders over here are feeling a little bit of warmed upness. Feeling stiff, getting loose. Whew. Because that's it. That's all we got for the back and the shoulders. We're going to move on. Let's go. That is our second stretch. We're going to move on into stretch number 3. That is not really a stretch. It's going to be really intense. So get ready. We're doing some Cossack switches. Cossack switches look a little bit like this. We're going to open up our legs decently wide. And our goal is to hang out in this type of position. Usually we spend a whole bunch of time squishing down and stretching out the muscles. Today I'm going to try and see if we can not do that and get similar results. Che, in the comments, let me know later. Ganowski, Gayeta, everybody, all the regulars, let me know if this works out. Okay, we're trying to hang out deep in this position. How do we get into this position? Well, if you can try and squat a little bit low, even if you're toppling over, that's basically what this side is. And if you put your hands down to support yourself, you can throw your leg all the way out over there, and this is the position we want to get into. I want you to try your best to be in here with your heels down and your other heel down. That might mean you have to stand up a little bit, and I want you to try your best to squish as low and as deep as you can. If you're struggling to keep your ankles down and your hips are keeping you all the way up here, your quads are going to fire really hard. So if your quads are going to get super tired, take a break, stand up. We're going to talk about form, and then you can get into it in a little bit, okay? From here, I want you to try your best to get into something that resembles this type of position. If you're newer and you can't get quite as low, you can lean forward, put your hands down, heel on this side is down, toes are up, knees are up. And on this side, we want to get into something that resembles this. Feeling the stretch in the Achilles tendon, feeling some pressure on the quads, feeling some pressure in the front of the ankle and that hip. We're going to try and get low. Something that looks like this. You might be here, you might be there, you might be all the way over here. That is absolutely okay. We're all working towards it. From here, you can put your hands down. You can scoot your butt over to the other side. You can do that with hand support. You can do that without hand support. You can do that standing up a little bit straighter. And you can do that by coming out of it entirely, come across and drop down. I want you to experiment with all the variations and see which ones work well for you. We don't want them to be too easy, but we also don't want them to be too hard. We got to do 10 reps. All right, let's go. Once again, I'm going to start doing them, and I'm going to demonstrate all the different styles of doing it so we can do them together. Ready? Get low. Heels are both down. Scoot your butt over to the other side. You can put your hands down for a little bit of support to make things easier. You can bring yourself over without your hands for a little bit more of a challenge. You can stand up very straight, extend your arms in front of you to challenge the low back. You can come up into a quarter squat, come across, then sink into that bottom position, quarter squat, across, then sink into that bottom position. Keep the hips low, use some hand support to come from side to side. This is 5, I believe. No hands. 6, straight back, hands in front. 7. You don't have to do these exactly how I am doing these. I'm just making sure I demonstrate a whole bunch of different variations for you to try. You can stick with just 1. I think this is 9 and 10. All right. Come on up. I hope you found a variation that you can handle. This is not an easy exercise, and we do this partially because it works a lot of the muscles that the side split works really, really well. One of them being this right here. From the midpoint of my body over is basically a side split, already in this deep position. You're already capable of at least this much. All right. And what we're doing here is we're squishing a lot of the hips, we're compacting, we're contracting, and we're working on staying in balance and in control in these extreme ranges so that we can build up to better hip mobility. I try to give you a lot of variations so that you can figure out which ones work well for you. If they're all still too hard, let me know and I will address that in the future. All right. Those are our 3 warm-up exercises. I hope you're sweating. Hope your heart rate is up. I hope your blood is pumping because we're going to get into our 5 stretches. The first stretch is a hamstring stretch, and we do it with a knee on the ground. So I recommend you go grab a cushion. We're going to do something that looks vaguely like this. We're going to fold forward, bring the belly button down to the thigh. We're going to focus on getting to that position. So go grab something to pad your knee. It could be an old towel that's about to be washed. You can just roll it up, throw it on the ground. Knee padding. It could be flip-flops, old shoes, things you don't care about, your dog's bed, couch cushions, anything you want. Cool? In the meantime, I'm going to come over, check the chat, and grab a little sip because my mouth is dry. Over on YouTube, oh, there's a whole bunch. LeBron676 says, why? What is this? We're working on follow along lower body and middle split stretching session. Thank you, Foxy Roxy. I appreciate it. John Gonzalez says, hello, everyone in the chat. Welcome, everyone in the chat. Eduardo is back, sending the love. Hey, Syed, welcome back. You made it today. Cal says, ready. They've got their cushions. They're ready to move on. Travis Roxy says, this is so nice. Oh, cute. Cute. I'm scrolling. Let's see what else is going. DP's World is love the stretches. I appreciate it. Thank you for sending good vibes. Again, if you guys are just joining in, we're doing 45-ish minutes of live side split stretching. We do this every day to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community. I try to put good vibes, good energy into the internet. I hope you put good vibes, good energy into the chat and help support each other. We're here because we want to make sure we're practicing consistently, having a little bit of community support and good energy towards the thing that we're doing, which is struggling and suffering a little bit on the floor, hoping that we make a little bit of progress in our hip mobility, in our side splits, middle splits. Cool? Hey, follow, hit subscribe, come back. Cool. All right. I'm going to scroll through the chat a little bit longer just to see if there's any other messages that came in. Lots of people are sending a bunch of gifts. Anu, thank you for the roses. I appreciate it. Angel says 120 people. The 120 people realize it's not their place and have left, but that's okay. We're with a bunch of dedicated, lovely people instead. Okay, I am scrolling to the top. Angel says hello. Okay, I think that's probably the top. Yep, there we go. Che says hello. Scrolling back down. One last look. Anu says thank you so much. And Kat sends strong biceps. We got a comment from Yolo asking for some low back stretches. We'll get to that at the end because I want to get through the major part of the workout first, and then we'll get to that. Cool? And I'm not drinking very much. Just talk the whole time anyway. All right, let's get into some hamstring stretches. We're going to drop down to one knee. If you want, if you have a cushion that is big enough, you can drop down to both knees to start. The goal is to point our hips directly forward, our shoulders directly forward, our head directly forward, and then the leg we want to stretch is going directly forward. From here, we're going to take this belly button right here. We're going to try and bring it down towards our thighs. Cool? That's it. That's the whole thing. I don't know why I'm lifting my arms out like wings to fly. Maybe it's to help a little bit with balance, but you can probably reach down a little bit to either side to give yourself a little bit of support. If you have to lean quite a bit because you can't reach, that is okay. From here, we're in this position. I'm gonna spin around so I can show you my form a little better. You don't have to move because I can't see you. And once we're in this position, I want you to take a nice big inhale. And I want you to slowly exhale. And as you exhale, I want you to fold your body down towards the leg. Got it? Let's go. Inhale. Exhale and fold. Okay. Your hamstrings are tightening up. Maybe your calves are tightening up. This is where I tell you, try to keep the back relatively straight. What we don't want is this type of bending. Your hips didn't go anywhere. You didn't get any closer, but now there's a lot of pressure in your back. There's a lot of pressure in your head. We want to straighten out, especially that top part. Try to straighten out this middle part, but if it doesn't get perfect, that's okay. As you get stronger, it will happen. And that's it. I hope you've breathed while I talked about all that stuff. Let's go. One more inhale, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Fold. Bring the belly button down towards the thigh. And once you're as deep as you can, we're going to hold this for 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, almost done, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, bend the knee. Scoot on back. Give your legs a second to rest, and we're going to get right back into the other side. Drop that knee down. Extend the leg on the other side. Remember, it's all about bringing the belly button down to the thigh. All right. You might notice one leg is more flexible than the other. That is totally normal, especially if you have old injuries in just one leg. All right, I hope you're ready. Inhale, exhale, inhale. Exhale. Take a couple of seconds, take some normal breaths, and then we'll do one more. Inhale. Exhale. And try to straighten out the back a little bit. 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. If your knee is starting to get a little achy, get a little tender, you can give it a slight bend. If you bend the knee, then I really want you to focus on bringing the belly button down. Try to touch your belly button to the thigh. Maybe bring the chest all the way down to that leg first, because we're reducing the hamstring stretch when we bend the knee. And then once you've done that, because we still don't want you to have pain in the knee, you can start straightening out the knee at the end. Cool? Probably should have been trying to count mentally in my head. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, come on out of that stretch. Oh, you don't need the cushion anymore. That was the only thing we needed for. Ooh, that was dangerous. I was trying to show off some spinny cool moves. Almost threw the pillow into the drink. That is our first stretch, the hamstring stretch. We use the hamstrings a lot throughout this series. So I hope the combination of the elephant walk in the beginning plus the hamstring stretch that we just did helps loosen up your hamstrings, because we got some more intense stuff coming up. All right, the second warm-up exercise. The second stretch is the butterfly stretch. This is often also called the tailor's pose in some other countries. We're gonna sit on our butts like so. We're gonna come to a wall, because the wall is gonna help us stay supported and keep our posture nice, so we can focus on the right things, which is opening up our hips. So this stretch is all about the groin right here, right in the center. And if you get really good at this, it's basically like a mini side split because you're bringing your legs down to the ground again flat. All right. So we're pulling the legs in to the groin. Our hips, our shoulder, our head are basically against the wall, and the wall is pushing against us so we don't fall backwards. All right. From here, you're gonna focus on bringing your knees down into the ground. Your knees coming down into the ground is how you stretch out the groin. All right. I want you to get stronger, and I want you to get more control over every position that we practice. So I want you to use the outer thigh muscles, the glutes, to help pull open your legs. From here, it looks a little bit like this. We're trying to bring the knees down into the ground, and we're trying to use our own muscles to do it. And you'll feel the stretch here in the groin. That's it. You've used your muscles. Now we're going to do the final piece, which the wall is awesome for. We're going to take our hands. We're going to apply a little bit of pressure here onto the legs. And when you do this, you're going to feel pressure in the back of your head, in your shoulders, because we're pushing into the wall, and the wall is keeping us from falling backwards so that we can focus on putting pressure into the legs. That's it. This is the position. I hope you're flexing your muscles and you're pushing away. I need to move because I don't fit in this spot. I'm going to move over here and we're going to start our 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. Remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath. 22, 21, 20. If you've been contracting your leg muscles this whole time, try relaxing them for a second. Keep on pushing with your arms. See if you get a little bit deeper. And then once you've gotten deep and not making any more progress, again, start contracting those muscles. See if you can pull yourself a little bit deeper into that stretch. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, let the hands go, let the knees go, and give your hips a second. Now, relax all the muscles, let it chill. You might notice your legs feel a little bit stuck. That is okay. Move your legs a little bit, get the hips working, and they should come right back to life. Let's move on. Coming out of that position, we're going to move on into stretch number 3, the standing pancake. Standing pancake looks a bit like this. We're opening up the legs decently wide. It's not about crazy depth, not yet. If there's pain in your hips right now, bring your legs back in. And from here, our goal is to fold forward. Bring the belly button pointed down towards the ground. If it looks like we're just trying to touch our toes, yes, that is absolutely the starting point for the standing pancake. From the side, it's going to look a little bit like this, okay? When you're folded forward, when your belly button is pointing towards the ground, when your head is pointing the same direction your toes are, you can start to open up your stance a little bit and get a little bit wider. Again, we still don't want a lot of discomfort, but this is how you get a wide pancake, all right? From here, the goal is to fold our belly button down. We're going to fold so low, so deep that our head is going to go in between our legs. If your legs are really wide apart and you're close to the ground, you're going to touch the floor long before your head goes in between your legs. So if you're super flexible, then we're going to have to switch and transition to something else. But if you're a little bit less flexible, like me, then you'll probably have enough to fold forward like this and not be able to smash your head into the floor. Okay, let's go. To make this a little bit more challenging, you can stick your arms out in front of you, and that will help the weight feel way more intense. If you're feeling like you're falling over, you can stick your butt a little bit further back first, and then extend your arms. All right, that is the standing pancake. We're gonna hold this for 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. You can bring your legs or bring your arms in if it's too intense. You can massage your leg muscles the whole time if you want. 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Remember to breathe. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Put your hands down. Oh, come out of that stretch. The pancake is really hard because it does two things. One, especially when we're doing the standing pancake, we're using these adductor muscles, the muscles on the inner thighs, to hold up our whole entire body weight. When our legs are not that far apart, it's not so bad. But when we get deeper and deeper into crazier positions, when we're in these positions, the adductors tend not to be super strong. So they are struggling to hold you up for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, however long we're hanging out in this position, right? The other place we're probably feeling a lot of discomfort right now is sort of in the glutes, in the hamstrings. And that is because the hamstrings attach just below the knee into the hip. And when you fold forward, that distance gets longer and we're feeling the stretch in the hamstrings. So it doesn't matter if your legs are together and we're just trying to touch your toes, or if your legs are really far apart. If your hips are folding forward, you're gonna feel that hamstring stretch. That's why we said earlier we did the elephant walk and we did the hamstring stretch before, so that when we get into the combo of struggling, it's a little easier to get into. That is the standing pancake. We're gonna move on into a chiller exercise. That is our fourth stretch. It is the pigeon or the figure four. I can't remember which is the one I explained last night. So I think it was the figure four. So let's do some pigeon. In the pigeon, we're basically getting into this position. We're bringing the ankle across the body, and then we're pulling the leg towards the chest, so that we're feeling a stretch here in the side of the glute, in the side of the hip. All right? And we're trying to bring that chest down to the leg. I say chest, but I really want you to focus on the belly button because that's more important. But when your leg is like this, it looks like the chest. Cool. So from here, we are basically taking that same exact position. We're bringing it down to the ground, and we're hanging out here in this position. If you've never done the pigeon before, we're taking that leg, bringing it across the body, and we're folding our chest down towards that leg. You can change the angle up, and it'll become different levels of intensity. The further you point your chest towards your toes, the more intense it's going to become. To start with, find the midpoint between your knee and your ankle. Find the midpoint on your chest. Just line those up, and that's a good starting point. Okay? This back leg, let me spin around. This back leg in a more serious yoga position that you might find a video about on YouTube. You're going to see a lot more people going and bring that leg all the way back. If you can get into this position, great, awesome. If you can't get into this position, that is absolutely okay. You can keep the knee bent because we are focusing mostly on the other hip getting stretched. And it's not the end of the world if you cannot get this leg there. However, if you want to make the best use of your time and you want to work on a way to get this back leg stretched out, you got two options. I mean, mostly it's just one option. We're going to elevate the front leg. And I'm going to pretend I have yoga blocks. I see them, but I'm not going to go get them. It's okay. If you elevate the front leg on something like yoga blocks, then you're going to open up some space underneath your hips. And if there's space underneath your hips, it'll be easier for your leg to extend back behind you. Another variation of this, a very extreme variation of this, is you can do this from something that you're standing on. Ooh, I almost hit my head on the shelf. If you get to a table or a coffee table, something that hopefully won't slide and bust underneath your weight as you lean into it and try to push at it from a weird angle, you can get your leg back into that same pigeon position. And this back leg can do whatever the back leg needs to do to get into a safe position. In this case, because the table is super high, I'm basically just tiptoeing. But if I were to drop my ankle all the way down, we're basically in that same position. Cool. That is a whole bunch of ways to get into the pigeon and try to keep that back leg extended behind you so that we can train both at the same time. Let's go get into the position one more time. We're going to start the actual stretch. Whew. All right, we're bringing the leg across the body. Try to keep 90-ish degrees. If you can't get there, that's fine. Bring the chest down, aim the midpoint of the chest to the midpoint of the leg, fold. You might feel a bit of a stretch in the hamstrings again, now that they're all tired, but you want to feel the stretch in the other side of this hip. I'm just facing the wrong way. Fold and bring that chest down. We want to keep the hips low. We don't want to get into a position where your head is down and your hips are up. And that's it, 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, that's one side. We're going to switch on over to the other side. We're going to wrap up. This is the fourth of our 5 stretches. The next stretch is going to be a split variation. So we're getting ready. Take this last couple of seconds to relax, to chill, because it's only gonna get more intense from here. Let's go. Fold forward, bring that leg across. Feel the stretch out here in the side of the glute, in the side of the hip. And let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23. You might notice one side, one hip is way more flexible than the other. That is totally normal. My right hip is way stiffer than my left hip. I don't know why. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. If you suddenly feel like it's getting too easy, push your ankle away, push your ankle towards your face. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, come on up out of the pigeon stretch. The pigeon is one of those stretches where every time I do them, I go, wow, I should really do more of those. So if you feel the same, consider trying to figure out other times you can get into the pigeon, because it's one of those stretches where your face is looking at the floor. You're like analyzing all the like hair, all the dust that you should probably sweep that you're probably not going to remember to sweep. And it's not usually the most pleasant stretch when you're like, oh man, I really need to clean a little bit. Okay, let's move on into the 5th stretch, the side splits themselves. If you're just joining and you have no idea what I'm talking about, we do 45-ish minutes, 60 minutes of live hip mobility, side split stretching every single day to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community. I try to put good vibes into the internet. I hope you put some good vibes into the chat so that we can all support each other and help make it possible for us to make a whole bunch of progress towards better hip mobility, towards better movement, towards the side splits together. Cool? Hit follow, hit subscribe, keep coming back. We're here every single day, 9 p.m., 9 a.m. on the weekends. So keep coming back. Let's go. Side splits. This is our 5th and final exercise, and we are going to talk about safety for a little bit. I prefer, if you have something behind you, to fall back against. In this case, I'm going to recommend a wall, because if you're in a deep side split looking position and you lose balance, you're like, whoa, what's going on? And you start fumbling and you're doing some matrix level activity. If you fall backwards, the wall will be there to catch you. Your shoulder will hit, maybe your butt will hit, and it will not be your butt slamming all the way into the ground and hurting way more. So that's the wall, trying to keep your butt a little bit safer. So get in front of it to help keep you safe. If you do not have a chunk of wall that is very available, feel free to use something like a table. Just make sure that when you fall backwards and you lean on the table doesn't go sliding out. So if you have a coffee table in the middle of your living room, that probably is not the best choice. If you have a really heavy coffee table, then maybe that'll work. But a couch against the wall, that might be just fine. Cool? All right, that is a tidbit about safety, and we're gonna move right on into some side splits. Let's go. We're gonna try and open up the legs decently wide. Doesn't have to be crazy. We don't want any pain in the hips. We're gonna fold forward so that the belly button is pointing towards the ground. And once you're in this position, you can sort of wiggle yourself into a deeper, more open position. Put your hands down like you're gonna do a push-up. Pretend to do a push-up. When you do this, you should feel that there's a lot of body weight shifting into your arms. That's what we want. We want to shift the weight into our arms to make it easier to externally rotate the legs. What is that? That is when your heels are down, your toes are up, and your knees are pointing up. What we're doing is rotating the thigh bone so that it does not smash into part of your pelvis, your hip bone, and lets us get into deeper side split stretches. All right? So once you've rotated those, and this is the most important part of the whole thing, we're rotating this leg, or both legs, not just one. And we're gonna walk the hands back towards our hips to put the body weight that we pushed forward. We're gonna put them right back into our legs, and that is how we get into our deep side split stretch. Because we'll all be at different heights, different levels of intensity. You might be a little bit higher up, and you might be in something that looks like this. If you can't get your hands any further back, that is absolutely okay. You might want to grab some yoga blocks, a stool, a chair in the future. But for now, get as deep as you can and get into a stable position. From here, I want you to do a little wiggle from side to side. Get that friction holding your feet back broken. And that's it. We're gonna hold this for 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That is it. Walk your hands forward. Make some space. Bring your knees in towards the center of your body and sit back, chill, relax for a second. Whew. That is side split number 1. We were doing 3 rounds, so we got 2 more to go. And what we just did was put a whole bunch of tension in through our legs and our hips in that crazy position. So what we're going to do now to recover from it is we're going to shake out all of that tension. We're going to try and get as loose as possible. Let's do it. Come back into standing when you can, and we're going to try and shake out the tension. If you're new to the show, this is how I like to talk about it. We're going to flick our hands, we're going to flick our leg like we just got out of the pool, and we're trying to dry off all that water, and we're trying to flick it off. Kick, 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 flick, 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 shake, 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 wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. If you're a little bit more malicious, you can imagine you're trying to flick the water at your friend's face, at a sibling's face, and just trying to be annoying. That is what we're doing. Shaking out the leg. We want that ankle to relax. We want the calves to flop around. And as you get more skilled at this, you can add in a little bit of rotation. You don't have to do all this on attempt 1. And to learn the movement, you can place your toe down and sort of shake your leg out like this. And then you can integrate that into the hip movement, and your quads will start shaking out. Cool? Super complicated. The end goal here is just to shake out your legs, get your muscles loose, flop around, and feel loose. If you haven't started the other side, start shaking out the other side. Again, we're going to start with the flick, And then as you get more comfortable, you also don't have to lift your leg nearly as high as I do. I'm doing it to exaggerate and show you what's happening. As you do more of these, you can add in a whole bunch of other floppy, wiggly movement to let those muscles get loose. All right. Once your legs are feeling a little bit better, I think it's about time we get ready for round 2 of the side splits. I'm gonna pop in and look at the chat real quick. Stanky leg, absolutely. Yep, that is exactly what it is. I call it Stanky Leg Junior, and we have a couple of versions where we focus specifically on just the hip, where it looks a little bit like this. I call that Stanky Leg Junior, and then I call this the Stanky Leg, and we do little dances. Occasionally, most of the time I forget actually, but occasionally we do some dances to make it a little bit more fun, a little bit more memorable, and keep the intensity up. All right, side split number 2. Let's go. Let's do this. Stay 8 to 12 inches in front of whatever you're going to have behind you to help keep you safe. Remember, I have a table here so that if I fall backwards, I can look really cool and lean back and talk to you like it was intentional. Make sure that you have something nice and stable that you can fall back against so that your butt hits the wall, maybe a shoulder hits the wall, and it's not your butt smashing into the ground and hurting real bad. Cool? Let's open up those legs. We are making sure the hips don't hurt. We're going to fold forward, bring the belly button down. And once you're folded forward, you can get into an even deeper position more comfortably. Place your hands down like you're going to do a little bit of a push-up. Put some body weight into those arms so that it's easier to externally rotate the legs. External rotation is when your heels are down, your toes are up, and your knees are pointing up. Again, heels down, toes up, knees up on both sides. From that position, you should be able to sit upright a little bit more and get into a deeper stretch. Walk your hands back towards your hips if you can, and we're gonna do one last wiggle from side to side to see if we can break the friction, holding our feet back. 30 seconds, let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. If you're close enough to the wall that your butt is resting on the wall, you can potentially lean against the wall and help yourself sit up a little bit straighter. You're gonna feel the stretch sort of in different places depending on the angle that your chest is hanging out at. If you're sitting up perfectly straight, this is often called a straddle position, where you're just opening up your legs to either side. If you rotate forward a little bit so that your head is pointing out and your face is facing towards the floor, this is stretching more of the inner thigh muscles, and that is more side split E. And if you stick your butt back and you fold your chest and bring it down at the same time, this is more of a pancake stretch, which is one of the stretches that we did a little bit earlier. We were doing a standing pancake, but now we're doing somewhere in between. So this position is the starting point for lots of different stretches, and that means you can kind of just shift your way in between as we go. I have completely lost count of how long we've been in this position because I was describing so much stuff. So let's just go for another 5 seconds and call it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, walk your hands forward. Pull your legs in from underneath you. Your legs are probably super tired. So chill, relax, take a break. Breathe, and when you can, let's come back into standing. And shake it out. Going back through the stanky leg, the movement. We're just trying to relax all those muscles that got really tight, really tense. And instead of being a robot, we're trying to get loose. We're trying to be floppy. We're trying to be overcooked pasta. Let's do it. Shake, 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 like you're flicking water off of your toes. If you want, you can imagine flicking water at your enemies. If that makes it more fun for you, that's cool. No judgment. Once you're getting a little bit more comfortable with the shake, add in a little bit of other movement. Work on relaxing those muscles. We want to flop, 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 flop. You can hold on to a wall, a table, something for a little bit of balance to change the angle that your leg is hanging out at. Give it a little bit more movement, and switch to the other side. Shake, 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 shake. Sorry, we're starting with the flick, 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 flick. Shake, 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 shake. Wiggle, 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 flop, flop, flop around. Okay. Once you've shaken out both sides a little bit, and your muscles are feeling a little bit more relaxed, I imagine you'll still be feeling quite a little bit of tension here at the hip because we've done 2 side splits already. So it's not just the legs. There's a lot going on at the hip when you're sticking your leg out way off to the side. We're going to do stanky leg junior. And that looks a little bit like this. You don't have to take a really wide stance. You're just going to put all your weight into one leg. You're going to let one leg sort of hang out over here on the side. All right? No weight in it. You can lift it at any time. From here, we're going to take maybe just that big toe, maybe the ball of your foot, wherever you want. We're going to rotate at the hip bone right here and get a little bit of movement to help loosen up the hip muscles around the outside. Stanky leg junior. Rotate in, rotate out, rotate in, rotate out. Does not have to be super intense, does not have to be fast. We're just doing a little bit of movement to help the hips loosen up. Cool? Do the other side. Same thing. Stanky leg junior. And once you're done a little bit of movement, your hips are feeling a little bit looser, we're ready for side split number 3. Take a nice big deep breath. Chill, relax the system. Hopefully that will help you get into a deeper side split because we have less tension in the body, less muscles fighting your side split. And let's get in front of something that will keep us safe, 8 to 12 inches, so that if you fall back, you have something to catch yourself with. Open up the legs, fold at the hips, point your belly button down towards the ground, place your hands down, do what looks like a mini push-up. Put some of that body weight into your arms to make it easier on yourself when you externally rotate the legs. External rotation is when your heels are down, your toes are up, your knees are pointing up. Heels are down, toes are up, knees are pointing up. This is necessary for you to be able to sit up a little bit straighter and still be in the side split position. All right, try to walk your hands back towards your hips. And once you're as deep as you can get, we're going to try and get a little bit deeper. We're going to wiggle a little bit from the left to the right, to the left, to the right. Break the friction, holding your feet back. And that's it. This is our final 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. Remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath. 24, 23, 22, 21. If your butt is against the wall right now, you might be able to lean back against it and sit up a little bit straighter. And this is why we externally rotate the legs to get a little bit of that space so that we can sit up straight. 15, maybe 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. You can add in a little wiggle at any time, by the way. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Walk forward. Bring your hands forward. Bring your legs in and chill, hang out, recover, breathe. That is our third side split. That means we are pretty much done. Okay, coming back up into standing. We're going to shake out the legs one last time. We're going to do some stanky leg. We're going to move those hips, and then we're going to do a couple of last joint checks to make sure everything is moving well so that you can go off to rest feeling all loose and good. Good. There's a fruit fly that just flew into my face. That's what I'm waving my hand for. Let's Go, shake it out. Shake, 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 shake. Flicking water off of our toes into the eyes of our enemies. Then we are taking that shake to the next level, adding some wiggle, adding some flop, rotate a little bit more. If you want to imagine it, you can think of your ankle as a pendulum. Don't actually, do this too much because it puts a lot of pressure on your knee, but I want you to imagine that this is what's happening as you bring your leg down, and that will help you get used to sort of rotating the leg at the hip a little bit more. Shake the other side, even it out, relax those muscles, shake, 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 flick, 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 flick. As you get more practice at this, you get more skilled, your muscles will relax faster, and this will take less and less time, even though I appear to be spending more and more time shaking out my leg. Once your legs are feeling a little bit looser, let's work on the hips. Let's get into something a little bit deeper. Let's get into like a quarter squat. We're trying to keep all of this completely stuck. We're going to come onto the balls of the foot on the left foot. Everything else is going to stay in place. We're going to rotate that leg in and rotate it out. This time, I want you to really try to get to your end range of motion. Try to bring that knee as far in as you can. Bring the knee as far out as you can. If this is getting really tiring, you can get into a smaller position. You don't have to have your legs as wide apart. We're just going to do 3, 4, 5 of these and switch over to the other side. If you need to take a break, pop those hips, do a little dance, and we're going to keep going. Leg in, leg out, leg in, leg out, leg in, leg out. Whew. Hopefully those hips are feeling a little bit looser, and we're ready to move on to some joint checks. The joint checks, really straightforward. We're just going to use some regular movement patterns and see if you're able to do them well. We're going to start with some hip circles. When I do this workout, especially the side splits, the sides of my hips get really tense and tight. So when I do the hip circles, hula hooping, I take a couple of extra seconds to stretch out the sides. If you have anything that feels weird, feels like it needs a little bit of extra tension, go ahead and take care of it as well. Once you've done that, let's try a couple of quick high knees. Make sure the hip flexors are doing good. We're going to pop into a squat. Fold at the hips. Bring the pressure into your knees. Bring them forward. When you do that, your ankles will automatically feel a bit of tension. And from here, really lean forward so you get your toes engaged. From here, we're going to do a little bit of a calf raise. And come back into a squat. Or I guess come back into standing out of the squat. If you're able to do all of those things, your muscles are working well together, you're feeling pretty coordinated, you're feeling normal, then we are all done. We have wrapped up. We've done, how many minutes is this? 60 minutes of live side split stretching. We do this every single day to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community, and hopefully that combination of consistency, combination of community, the good vibes we send to each other helps us make a whole bunch of progress towards hip mobility, towards some splits. So if that sounds cool, hit follow, hit subscribe, keep coming back. We are doing 2 shows a day on the weekends, 9 a.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern, which means for you guys, it starts in like 11 hours. And you're welcome to come to one, you're welcome to come to both. Both might be a little bit intense, but I'll be here. So if you had fun, if you're feeling good, if your hips are feeling a lot better than when you came in, and you're feeling a lot looser, you're ready to go to bed, nice and relaxed, then I hope you had fun. And I hope you see how worthwhile it is to get a little bit of stretching, to get a little bit of movement done. I hope you had fun. Keep coming back. We're here every single day. Cool. All right. You come back to the camera to check out the chat because I feel like I have not been there at all in a while. Whew. Ooh. Hey, thank you, Sayed, for giving me a chance to get people to ask the question, then let it hang in the chat so I can have time to come back and check it out. Okay, let's see. I'll start with YouTube. over here on this side. Eduardo sending awesome emojis full of encouragement. Sayed as well. Some explanations about inhaling and exhaling. Because Riahi Montessar says, hello, I appreciate your content. Welcome, Ria. Thank you for coming in. They have a question. Do you have some recommendations for pelvic tilt and shift? Pelvis tilted and uneven upward on one side. Ooh, okay. Sayed says, wait, he'll read the chat soon. And let's see. I'm not an expert at this, so I'm going to try my best to give a little bit of help. If you have one hip that is much higher than the other, something that looks like this, I presume, is probably a combination of two things. One, it might be that these muscles are really, really, really tight. And that could come from a whole bunch of things. It might be, and if your hips are already doing this, you're probably suffering even more by staying in a position like this when you are sitting down doing work at a desk. Or if you have some task that you do all the time that requires a little bit of hip elevation, it's probably part of the reason why you're struggling with the pelvis coming up a little bit onto one side. I think the first thing I do is be really conscious of the movements that you do all day that are related to this, right? Because this is like a little bit of a chicken and an egg problem. You sit weird because your pelvis is up, but your pelvis is up because you sat weird to begin with. And so I would recommend you focus first on double checking whether or not your obliques, the muscles on the side of your body, are being really tight and causing one hip to come up, or if it's something different. Alternatively, when you are sitting down, you're spending a lot of time in the positions where your pelvis are coming up. Be extra thoughtful and focused on how not to do that. I, for example, have one shoulder that rests a little bit higher than the other shoulder because when I sit in a chair, I do something like this. I lean against the armrest on one side. So one shoulder hangs out slightly higher than the other, and the oblique just tends to be a little bit tighter on one side. I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's not super noticeable when I am standing up relatively straight, but sometimes if I've been sitting for a while, for a couple hours doing something, one shoulder will be a little bit higher and a little bit elevated. So be conscious of the positions that you're in that sort of start forcing you to get into these weird, uncomfortable positions. Pelvic tilt was the second part of the question. I don't know if you're talking about pelvic tilt, the one that is a little bit more common, which is anterior pelvic tilt and posterior pelvic tilt, but the hips are here. And if you have too much bending in the low back because your hips are out there, then your back is going to hurt a little bit, low back pain. We had another question, I think, on TikTok about stretches for low back pain, and we can talk about that in just a sec as well. So if you are struggling a little bit with pelvic tilt forward and back, then it's hard. It's hard because most of the time when you're struggling with this, you have already built some hanging out movement patterns, and this is where you want to rest. Generally, if you do some ab contraction and you sort of ball up, this is more of the pelvic tilt that we want, and that helps reduce the tension on the low back, on the spine, right here. When your butt is coming back and you have this crazy bend in the back, there's a lot of pressure on the spine, and that gets uncomfortable fast. Where am I going with this? Let me think. What is the next order of operations? If you really want to work on getting your posterior pelvic tilt forward, there's a couple of things that you can do real quick instantaneously that will help to reduce some of the tension on the back. The first thing you can do is flex your glutes, really contract them, pinch them hard. When you pinch them hard, it's easier to sort of almost thrust the hips a little bit forward, and that automatically tucks the butt underneath. So for instantaneous relief in your low back, if you flex the glutes and you keep a medium level of flex, it should help reduce some of that tension on the low back immediately. If you add on a little bit of ab tension, you really round yourself out like this. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but if you contract your core and you clench your butt, that will reduce the tension a lot in your low back, and it'll give you some momentary relief. So that's probably a good place to start. And I don't think I have any good, solid recommendations for how you should train the muscles to get into those positions a little bit better, because I haven't personally experienced them and I haven't studied them. So that's the best that I can do for now. Cool. All right. Let's see. I'm going to scroll in the other chat. Bree says, your explanation helps so much. Oh, great. I'm glad that it was helpful. Again, I'm not a super expert at this, but I have had some low back issues. So what I do know, I'm trying my best to share. And the quick fix is clench your butt, flex the abs, and that will force the hips to tilt a little bit and give you a little bit of relief so that you can go do whatever else you need to finish. And you should probably address that more seriously with more thoughtful exercise. But I have watched a ton of videos on this topic, and I can't remember any of the exercises because I haven't dealt with it in a while. Anu says, I appreciate your time and insights. Thank you, Anu. Thank you for all the roses and gifts throughout the live, especially at the beginning. I appreciate it. Kat G says, thank you for the session. And good evening, Ken. Thanks, Kat. See you soon. Angel says, I got to jump. Of course. We are here for a while, and nobody can stay for the whole, or very few people can stay for the whole thing, and that's okay. Jesus says, how long did it take for you to go down that low for that stretch? I have been doing this live show or some version of it for about a year. And if you check out my Instagram account, it's the same username @splits on the side, and you go all the way down to that first post, you'll see where my starting point roughly was. It's taken about a year of this show. I don't really do much stretching outside of this thing because the live is sort of my way of being accountable to myself, and it gradually grew into a way to bring a whole bunch of people together so we can stretch and work out all at the same time. And yeah, so at the end of the day, we're doing 3 rounds of 30 seconds of side splits, a whole bunch of supplementary stretches. If we did this really fast, we took no breaks, we didn't talk about anything, we just focused on just stretching and barely had time to breathe in between, we could crank out most of these stretches in about 15, 20 minutes. And so you know that. If you're ever out of time and you do want to get a little bit of exercise in, or the timing of the live doesn't work out for your life, you can go ahead and check out the YouTube account. Same username @splits on the side. I have a shorter version of this video where we basically don't talk, I don't explain anything, we just do movements. So if you've come to a couple of lives and you know basically the movements and you don't need tips and pointers and things like that, then you can follow that and follow along, and you can get all the stretches. And those will be really worthwhile 15 minutes because you'll crank them out, you get a little bit more stretchy, and you can go do other stuff. Cool. But obviously the live is way more fun. It's a little bit more engaging, and the energy is a little bit better. So you got to make the compromise and decide what makes more sense for you and what helps you stay consistent. Jesus says, stanky leg, guys, flick the wrist. Yes, absolutely. The more fun you can make these stretches, the more fun you can do things, the easier it will be to stick with it, right? Like we do a lot of suffering on the floor in these extended long positions. So when you can add in cool things and fun things and give it fun names, like we're doing the stinky leg, we're doing some dance moves, and maybe if we're not doing the stinky leg, it's this one. I can't remember what it's called, where your hands switch and you go da-da-da-da-da. Make it fun. Make it enjoyable, and it will be much easier to do. Anita says, is that an advanced stretch? Because I cannot do that. It could be an advanced stretch. I don't remember when this message came in because I did not see it as it came in, but I think maybe it was the standing pancake. No? It was the splits. Okay. Yes, the splits are hard. It's hard to get into, it's hard to set up, it's hard to get into a situation where you're doing them properly. The way I like to think about the splits, is there's really like 2 or 3 different movements that all lead into the splits. Oh, I think I've run low battery. Hold on. On one hand, you can imagine them as pointing your toes up and opening up your legs as wide as you can when you're seated, right? Something like this. I can do one side all the way to the side. I can't do the other side all the way to the other side. Ugh. That's one way to get into it. Typically, when you just sit and you try to open up your legs as wide as possible, this is called a straddle. If you're going to Google something, I think in gymnastics lingo, it's typically called a straddle, and you just open up your legs as wide as you can to the side. I don't have enough strength to pull my leg all the way out to those deep positions. I can only get into that deeper looking position when I got gravity pulling my whole entire body weight down. So if I were sitting right in front of you and I were trying to get my legs as wide open as possible, I think the squares will give you a little bit of a better depth perception, but my hips to my ankles are about 2 feet. I think this block is about 2 feet. So this angle is really much closer to like 90 degrees. If I try really hard, I can probably get to 120 degrees. And it helps if my back is leaning against something. I have really bad folding forward skills. So my pancake is butt. And that's why I do the standing pancake, so that we get as much help from gravity pulling us down as possible. But because my standing pancake is butt, I get stuck when I do this position. I'm staying on the floor. Some people who have a slightly different combination of flexibility than the kind that I have, you might be able to just push your hips into a wall and get into a deeper stretch like so. That has almost never worked for me, so that is not a stretch that I do. If you, I like all the versions of stretches where gravity does a ton of work, and that's why I do the standing variation of all of these stretches. The con to this is you need a lot of strength. I have strength in abundance and flexibility, not much. So I like to hang out in these positions where gravity can pull me down and give me the boost that I need. Just by standing here and staying in this position, I'm way farther open in this leg position than I could be if I were sitting down on the ground, right? That is basically the premise behind all of the standing stretches that we do. Is because gravity is pulling really hard and we get to take advantage of it to help get into deeper, stretchier positions. So a follow-up question to that would be, how do you get into these positions and control them? I've seen like crazy gymnasts that can just like stick their leg out and then just hold it and it'd be like chilling. How do you get that? That is a lot of strength in extreme ranges of motion. That is training your lengthened muscle to be super strong. So you're getting here and then like being able to lift weights with that sort of like leg position is how you should sort of imagine how people get strong enough to do extended stuff like that. Or like dancers who can just like slowly lift their leg up and then bring it all the way up to into the sky and just hold it there. That's what those are. That is intense, super ridiculously strong muscles in the really weak leverage positions that suck. So they're just super strong. And it's a combination of two things. You got to get strong and you got to get loose. Looseness helps you get into that position. We can call that flexibility. And then when you get strong, you have what I would consider mobility, the ability to control that flexibility, the ability to use that flexibility for stuff. So I would argue right now in this version of the side splits, I have some flexibility, but I can't control this position. I can't get into it by choice. I can only get into it when I have all the weight of my upper body pulling me down towards the ground. And I am strengthening, and this is definitely hard. It's a more advanced exercise. But you don't have to get this deep, right? If you are maxing out right here, then this is the place that you are at. That is fine. If you can get a little bit deeper, great. If you can't, then you've got a starting point to work from. And that's absolutely okay. All right, what else we got? In the pancake, think the pancake is, of all the different stretches that I do, I think the pancake is the one that is the hardest to get into in the standing form because there's a lot more balancing and strength involved. I think that if you have something to lean against, like a wall, and this wall that we always use, wall, our best friend, if you have your butt sort of against the wall, have your feet slightly in front of the wall, and you fold forward like so, that helps you to stay a little bit more balanced. It helps you focus on folding forward and getting the stretch that you need. Same with the pancake. I have no strength to get into this angle or remotely close to this angle with my legs and my chest if I were seated on the ground. And that's why I do the standing, the standing pancake. Because if I try to do the same thing from over here, I can just barely hang out in that position before my hips want to fall back and bust my butt. Oh, my hips just cracked. Anyways, so when we do the live, sometimes when I'm doing some of these movements, it's like, oh man, this person is super ultra ridiculously flexible, right? Sometimes. If you're really good at flexibility and mobility, maybe I don't look that way. I look like a stiff board. But for most people, they'll be like, oh, okay, Ken is pretty flexible. That's cool. That's just smoke and mirrors and magic of cameras. There's a lot to work on. There's a lot that I'm working on every single day with you guys in these side splits. And I'm slowly training and trying to master some of these movements. The reason why we do the movements that we do is because I believe that for most people, you'll be able to get into a better range of motion. And that improvement makes you feel really good. And that improvement helps to make you feel like you're making progress. You are making progress, but you're extra feeling rewarded about it. And that helps motivate you to keep coming back and building the habit. Because my goal at the end of the day is to help you guys practice consistency. That's why I started the Live 4, was to make sure that I stayed accountable and I practice consistency. So I care the most about consistency. You can have the bestest, most perfectest plan in the world. If you can't follow it, it doesn't matter. So I try to make all the little pieces fun, visual, and I choose the exercises that I think most people will be able to show and feel the most progress in, so that they stay motivated and can build up that consistency, build up the habit. That was a long ramble about a whole bunch of other things, not related to the question that was originally asked. So let's see. I'm going to come back to the phones and check out what's going on. A Simsamuk 4905 on YouTube says, thank you so much for explaining the tilt issues. Oh, great. And thank you for having no music. Easier to focus on your explanation. You're welcome. I've never thought about playing music. not even for a moment during the lives, because I would just have to have one more device plugged in and to finagle with. And when we first started the live, I was like, this is really overwhelming. There's so many things. We got microphones, we got audio issues, we got internet issues, we got camera issues. I have never even considered music, so that's funny. Okay, I am going to scroll back up the chat another couple of seconds. Jesus says, your room reminds me of IKEA. Yes, this entire backdrop, I'm pretty sure, is purchased from IKEA. It might as well be an IKEA display. Although IKEA displays tend to look a little bit nicer than this too, so I don't know. Keys says, hi. Hello, Keys. Welcome. I don't know if you're still on. Let's see. I'm scrolling back up through the chat to see what we got going on. A whole bunch of people just joined in. We do 45 to 60 minutes of live side split stretching every single day and hip mobility. And we just wrapped up our show for this chunk of time, but we have another show in 11 hours at 9 a.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern. Those are two more shows, 9 a.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern. And on the weekends, we do the double show, 9 a.m., 9 p.m. But most of the time throughout the week, we do one show a day. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern. We build some consistency. We stretch together. We get flexible. We get mobile. And hopefully we make a whole bunch of progress together, because I try to bring good vibes to the internet. I hope you bring good vibes to the chat. And together we can support each other as we make a whole bunch of progress towards some awesome hip mobility. Cool. Hit follow, hit subscribe, keep coming back. because there's nothing left in this show. You should come back for the next one. Okay, I'm scrolling back down to the bottom of the chat. Ganasti says, I'm sorry I missed today. No worries. It is absolutely A-okay. You can't make all of them. You can just do what you can do. Astrid says, I'm working now. I can't do them. I'm watching them. Lovely, Astrid. What is useful about watching the first couple rounds is you'll hear all of the things I'm saying about each of the movements. And then when you actually do them, you'll understand where those little pieces of information fit in and how to use them in your next stretch. Okay. Oh, Travel actually says, do you mind going over the cat-cow stretch? I don't know how to do it properly. Absolutely. Let's do that. I believe somebody else asked about that in another piece of content earlier this week. So let's do some cat-cow. The purpose of the cat-cow is to get your spine to, what can I demonstrate back mobility with? The goal of the cat-cow is to bend your back forward and to bend your back backwards, to try and get a little bit of time in the most bent version of your spinal position that you can. And so we're going to do this on our hands and our knees. We're going to try and get the hips over the knees. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it helps to make certain things a little bit easier to focus on in a little bit. When you are here, and this position is going to look a little bit different for everyone. If you have longer legs, if you have longer arms, if you have a shorter torso, longer torso, it's going to look a little bit different. But seeing as you probably can't see yourself anyway, I guess it's not that important. From here, I want you to stick the belly button and point it as low to the ground as possible. Really, really, really bring it down. And that should start creating this arch in the low back. And then I want you to bring your chest up. And I want you to look up into the sky. When your head goes up, your neck, your upper back tends to follow it. And this is the stretch. Now to do the opposite, we're going to round the back. We're going to tuck the head to the chest. Try to touch your chin to the chest. And we're going to fold as far forward as possible. We're trying to stick the upper back high into the air. We're trying to contract the abs almost to tuck everything in and to pull the core tight. And that is basically the cat-cow. When you take it to that sort of really intense level, obviously that was way more intense than they need to be. In the cat-cow, you can be a lot more gentle, right? I like to imagine that when you are in this position, you are sort of cupping the air. There's maybe a ball around your back that you're trying to round your back against. And in the opposite direction, imagine that you're hugging a big ball. I want you to get a big round arch in both directions. I don't want one joint to do all of the work, right? And this is one of those moments where it might make sense to have a mirror, have somebody look at you, have a camera recording so you can look back. If you put all of the bending and all of the flexing on 1 or 2 or 3 vertebrae in the spine, that's not good for the spine. What we want at the cat-cow is to get a little bit of bending from every single joint for it to add up to a lot of total rounding of the back, but not have it happen in one place because that will hurt. Cool? Whew. So, what do we talk about? Hug the ball, round your back around the ball, and if you're on your hands and knees, imagine pointing your belly button and trying to get it really, 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 really low into the ground. If you know how to twerk, and is basically just moving your pelvis back and forth, we're sticking the pelvis. What is this angle even? Hold on, I'm confused. Yeah, we're basically doing that. It's sticking our butts back. And when we do that, we're putting pressure on the low back, which for some people, when you have a bunch of pelvic tilt, it causes discomfort in the low back when you're in that position for too long and you're putting a lot of pressure onto that position. But when you're doing the cat-cow, we're trying to move the spine through all of those positions and trying to get those muscles to relax. So we're trying to get back into it, but intentionally and with less pressure. When we're standing, it's carrying the whole weight of our bodies. When we're doing the cat-cow like this, we're not carrying that much weight, so it's more of a loosening and movement. I hope that makes sense because I started talking about twerking and pelvic tilt from a standing position, and that is why. Okay, what did I even talk about? I'm gonna try and recap this. We want the bending to happen a little bit at every single joint in the spine so that you're not putting too much pressure on just one vertebrae and you hurt yourself. And when we do this, a lot of it comes from the hips and where they're tilted. If you contract your abs and you clench your butt, your hips will tilt like this. So the bottom of the hips will point forward. If you do the opposite, you can point your butt back and your hips will point a little bit further back. And that will put a lot of pressure in your low back if you're just hanging out in life in this position. But if you do this on all four in the cat-cow position, it will help to bring your spine to its full range of motion and in and out and help you to move. So it's all about dosages. If you spend your whole life like this with your butt back and putting a lot of pressure on your low back, you're carrying backpacks, you're running, that's a lot of pressure on that 1 or 2 or 3 vertebrae in the back. But when you don't have that pressure, when you're on your hands and knees and you're trying to loosen up and get movement, it's different. Cool? So the dose makes the poison. All right. I'm going to scroll through some more chat, and hopefully I've answered more questions. We got a bunch of appreciation. I think I've seen this, so I'm going to go back down. Cat-cow stretch. Okay. What we got left? I think that's it. I think that's everything. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Thank you for practicing consistency. Thank you for working out. I hope you're feeling a bit better. I hope you're moving better. It's been like 20 minutes since we actually did any movement, but actually 27 minutes. I think we finished right on the hours. That's all I got today. So, Che, I'll see you later. Goodbye, everybody. Bye. Same on YouTube. The YouTube connection just fumbled and did something crazy. I'm sorry about that. I was trying to get it to work, or I was waiting for it to reconnect. But I hope you guys had fun. I hope you enjoyed all of the information I tried to share. I hope something was valuable, and I hope you had so much fun that you'll come back in like 10 hours because we have another live at 9 a.m. Eastern. On weekends, we do a 9 a.m. Eastern show and a 9 p.m. Eastern show, and I hope to see you soon.